At this stage you may think that this painting is looking okay, however when you know the person it's much more difficult because you're not as objective. So that's one reason why I turn it upside down. What I'm going to go back and do now is I'm going to go through and look at the marks that I've made, where I've put them, and check for my accuracy, because you can see I'm going to darken as well. I'm not so happy with the accuracy so far, and this eye I think is causing me, well both eyes are causing me a bit of problem, but as I go back through I will redraw. I like to use a long handle sable, so that's what I've got. It's the long handles are for balance when you're upright, and for me I like to get a bit of distance between myself and the work. I think getting that distance again allows the objectivity to come in. This is where I think I'm wrong with this eye. I think it needs to come this way slightly more. I always teach that the secret of a good painting is a good drawing, and a lot of students like to jump straight into painting like that. Oh, I'm ready. However, I think that in this case I've probably gone and done that classic mistake and jumped in without getting my drawing accurate. So now I'm having to go back through each time and check the drawing, as if you've got it accurate in the beginning. I know that projection, when I'm at work, I quite often encourage students to project. It's just a method of transference, and yeah, it can be extremely beneficial. It speeds up the process, but when you're sat at home like this, obviously you've got to be able to do it yourself. And the drawing out of this was literally about 5 minutes. I didn't spend the time. So that would be my piece of advice: get your drawing right before you move on to the painting. I constantly look for the things that are inaccurate, but when you do that, sometimes you lose focus of what is actually accurate, and you paint out the bits that were also accurate. So keep walking away from your work and having a look, or you know, you can do the old adage, throw out the baby with the bathwater. So yeah, it is important to get that distance between you and your work. As I look through the camera when I'm actually doing this, I can see a lot more of the problems. It's quite remarkable. You can use a mirror and look in a mirror and check out how things are going, or yeah, use your camera. Whichever way, it's just that additional level of looking, rather than it being just your own eyes looking the way that they always do. Yeah, so for me the secret of good drawing is good looking, and as I've taught for many years, like Miss Storer. However, that's just so the students remember it, so I brainwash them. Things such as the hair are my favourite part, because all you need to do is apply a bit of paint onto your brush and then hold it back a little bit so you've got less control, and just flick a little bit like that, and all of a sudden you'll get the appearance of what is hair. You need to make sure that you've got that background blocked in though, because I like to do this and then I have to keep repainting. It gives it a little bit more of a human touch. I think I'm putting my granddad a bit too much hair on here. I think he'd have been pleased with it. However, it's not, I've probably made it too bright as well. That's the other thing with grayscale work. Sometimes you look at things and you think, oh yeah, that's white, and it's not. So I frequently go back, repaint, redraw as I go along. You can see a lot of this is relatively dry that I'm putting on. So I put little bits, I go over the top, it's almost like dusting over. So that means that I'm not adding a lot of water into this paint. I'm using it in a relatively dry brush way. And it's a little bit like applying blusher, I always think, the way that you just brush little bits as you go along. I'm going to go back up to that and put the hair back on after. So I know that it's looking even more bold than what it was before, but I'll go back in, put it on. If it's too dark, look, and you're doing dry brush, you just rub a little bit over the top and it's going to automatically recede. No doubt I'll bring it back up into darker in a minute, but just as I go along, so that I'm actually feeling the form. I'm thinking which way the contours go, so the eyes are going around this way, and I'm trying to get that feel of how the eye is in the socket as well. So I need to get that contour there, and then I can go back in again and alter it. I can reduce it, soften it, etc. But if that socket doesn't exist, there'll always be a lack of form. The nose always is a problem for me. I think most of you will agree that the nose becomes the difficult part, and I always think it's a bit of a battle, but obviously you are the artist, you are in control, you need to make it work. So I'll go back in and try and get this nose better. I try and build up the overall picture. I think a lot of that is about trying to teach students how to work in under timed conditions, but my working process is that way, so that I am trying to build up and layer as I go along. So you'll see I put dark bits, put light bits. It's all about changing it the whole time, but stopping and looking, because if you don't stop and look, you have got that real tendency to miss the good work that you